The Girl from the Emeraline Island by Robert S. Blum. So I read this book as part of a series that me and the wife started doing called The Wife's Wildcard Pick, where she goes through my library and kind of picks out a random, obscure book, a book that other people aren't talking about. I read it and give you my thoughts. So this is the third one we've done like this in this series, and I gotta say, this is my favorite book so far that she's picked out. And I'll be honest, when I saw this one, I was thinking, why was this in my library? Just the cover, there's no one talked about Robert S. Blum. If you read the back of it, I wasn't that excited to read it, but it far exceeded all my expectations. And like I said, it's my favorite one I've read so far. Now, Robert S. Blum, he wrote this in 1984, and this is the only edition that's ever been printed of this one. This is by Valentine Del Rey, and it's the only book he ever wrote. So, he did a good job. I think if I was able to write one novel and get Del Rey to publish it, and it was this good, I would be really happy with my career as a writer. But let's just kind of get into what this one is about. So we're in this interesting world that seems very familiar at times, but technology has kind of peaked around the steam engine level. So people are riding around on horses and riding trains from town to town. Society is also quite a bit different. Females have a specific role where they're just there to have babies and take care of their family. They don't have a lot of other options to go out and get skills or trades or see the world or any kind of thing like that. Now, males, they get more options here. They go to schools when they're younger to learn different skills and trades. And as they get kind of towards the puberty age, they at some point go off and do this kind of rite of passage. We don't know a lot about this in the beginning of the book, and it really takes a long time till we find out more about it. And so it's very mysterious, but all the males are required to do this rite of passage, and half of them die, and the other half that make it through this and come back are forbidden to talk about it at all. So there's a lot of mystery, like I said, surrounding this part of society and what this rite of passage is really all about. Even the world building here, it's very sparse in the beginning. You're just thrown into this world. You're kind of trying to put the pieces together yourself and try to figure out what's brought civilization to this point. It almost reads like a fantasy, but the more you read into this novel, you realize this is a science fiction. It all kind of gets explained as you keep going through the book, and he does a really good job slowly explaining some of these things. Now, we also have some aliens, and what we have depicted here on the front is one of these aliens. They're kind of talked about like a wolf-like humanoid. They're very lethal if they want to be, but them and humans kind of coexist to a point. They both have different parts of the planet that they're on, and they do some trading of goods back and forth. But we really don't know a lot about them, why they're there, how they got there. There's a lot to this world that's really unclear. There's also some sort of almost like hinting of some apocalyptic event that happened at some point. But it's all very mysterious, and it's really what kept me reading through most of the book to try to figure out the answers in this one. So as you start reading this one, it kind of felt like The Handmaid's Tale in a way. We have our main character, and she's kind of trying to rebel against what society wants her to be as a female. But she goes and disguises herself as a male and enters some of these trade schools and battle schools and all these different kind of things to see if there's more out of life than just being a stay-at-home mother. Now, she usually gets found out along the way, and she's not a character that's just going around doing dumb things to create these plot devices. She is a very strong-willed woman that's just unhappy with the way society is. And you get the feeling that she can't live her life any other way. And that's what's kind of creating these issues. And so the first half of the book is kind of her, and you're getting kind of introduced to this society, this world, her, some other characters. She meets a lot of new friends along the way. She finds love, all these kinds of things. And eventually she meets some of these aliens that, like we showed here on the cover, these aliens called the People. And when she gets to meet them, they have a society that's completely different. There's equality between the male and females, and she really sees how things could be done completely different. And this really opens up her mind even more in a way and makes her even more rebellious. And as you keep going through the story, the whole plot intertwines with her, society, these aliens, and this mysterious ritual that these males have to go through. And I gotta say, I enjoyed everything about this book. It was a little slow in the beginning, but I think that just could have been my, judgment of just looking at the cover and not being super excited about reading it. But once I kind of forgot about that and just got sucked into the plot, I burned through this book. And the last third of this book, probably the last 100 pages, I just blew through because I really wanted to figure out what happened. And I don't want to spoil too much, but there's almost like a Hunger Games element to this one too, in a way. And so I think Robert S. Blum did a really good job writing his only novel. He did some things that have gotten popularized after this one was written. So he wrote this in 1984. Handmaid's Tale came out in 1985. Hunger Games came out way after that. And he had taken some ideas and put them all together in a really well-written book that was very enjoyable to read. So, like I said, this is my favorite so far out of all the wife's wildcard picks. And she was excited that I liked it so much. She was a little reluctant when she saw my reaction when she first picked it out. But that's kind of the point of this. It's making me read things that I normally wouldn't, and I'm counting this one as a big win. So 2 thumbs up for this one. I don't know if I would actually give it, 5 stars. I think it's a very solid 4-star book, but probably getting close to becoming a 5-star, somewhere in that realm for me. And next up, what my wife picked out is it's an ace double by Sam J. Lundwall. And on one side we have No Time for Heroes, and on the other side we have Alice's World. And I'm going into this one pretty blind. She did mention that somehow these 2 stories are linked, so I'm going to be reading both sides of this ace double. I also don't want to get the captain mad at me for only reading one side of a ace double. That seems to be a faux pas. So I'm going to remedy it on this one. I'll probably read that within the next month or so. So just look for that video coming out in the future. And once again, thanks for watching.